Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Prashant Kumar Sinha, and with me is Reshma Tiwari, bringing glimpses of major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews progress of COVID-19 vaccination drive in India. Prime Minister Modi says efforts should be made to help all countries expressing interest in CoWIN platform. India's landmark achievement, 320 million vaccines administered. National COVID recovery rate stands at 96.72%. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu calls for making India a leading maritime nation. India and Greece agree to enhance collaboration in trade and investment, science and technology, culture and academics. Greece joins International Solar Alliance. In the United States, Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin sentenced to over 22 years in prison for murdering George Floyd. And in Eurocup football, knockout match between Wales and Denmark underway. In another fixture, Austria to play with Italy. As the nation gears up for free vaccination campaign at government facilities for COVID-19 for those above 18 years of age, we advise our listeners to get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow the 4 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene and get vaccinated. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. Now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a meeting with top officials to review the progress of vaccination on Saturday and the COVID situation in the country. Officials gave a detailed presentation to the Prime Minister on the progress of vaccination in the country. The Prime Minister was briefed about the age-wise vaccination coverage. He was also briefed about the vaccine coverage amongst healthcare workers, frontline workers and general population in various states. The officials apprised the Prime Minister about the vaccine supply in the upcoming months and efforts being made to increase production. Mr. Modi was informed that 3.77 crore doses have been administered in the past 6 days, which is more than the entire population of countries like Malaysia, Saudi Arabia and Canada. It was also discussed that 128 districts in the country have vaccinated more than 50% of the 45-plus population and 16 districts have vaccinated more than 90% of the 45-plus population. The Prime Minister expressed satisfaction at the rising speed of vaccinations in this week and stressed that it is important to carry this momentum forward. Mr. Modi spoke about the need to involve NGOs and other organizations in such efforts. Officers also apprised the Prime Minister about the rising interest in CoWIN platform globally. He said that efforts should be made to help all countries who have expressed interest with India's rich tech expertise in the form of a CoWIN platform. In a significant achievement, India's cumulative COVID vaccination coverage has crossed the landmark of 320 million as per the 7 p.m. provisional report on Saturday. The cumulative figure stands at 32,11,43,649. As the new phase of universalization of COVID-19 vaccination commenced on the 21st of June, more than 58,10,000 vaccine doses were administered today. The ministry has termed it India's landmark achievement in the fight against COVID-19. Meanwhile, the country continues to register significant decline in active caseloads and also fresh cases of COVID-19. The active caseload comprises presently 1.97% of the cumulative positive cases and it is continuously declining. The country is also witnessing a declining trend in the weekly and daily positivity rate. This is the 19th consecutive day when the country has reported a daily positivity rate below 5%. India's daily recoveries continue to outnumber daily new cases for the 44th consecutive day. The recovery rate has reached 96.72% in the country.
Indian Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has emphasized the need for making India a leading maritime nation. Speaking at an interactive meeting with the officials of Visakhapatnam Port Trust on Saturday, he said that ancient India was a great maritime power and the past glory is to be regained. The Vice President explained that India is strategically located on the world's shipping routes with a long coastline of about 7,517 kilometers and over 200 major and minor ports, which play a key role in Indian economy. In a major boost to exports of exotic fruits, a consignment of fiber and mineral-rich dragon fruit, also referred to as kamalam, has been exported to Dubai from India. The consignment was sourced from the farmers of Tadasar village in Sangli district of Maharashtra. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry in a statement said that scientifically referred to as Hyloceras sundatus, the dragon fruit is grown in countries such as Malaysia, Thailand, the Philippines, the United States and Vietnam. The fruit contains fiber, vitamins, minerals and antioxidants. It can help in repairing the cell damage caused by oxidative stress and reduce inflammation, and also improving the digestive system. Since the fruit has spikes and petals resembling lotus, it is also referred as kamalam. Dragon fruit production commenced in India in early 1990s and was grown as home gardens. Dragon fruit has become increasingly popular in recent years in the country as it has been taken up for cultivation by farmers across various states. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Mann Ki Baat program in July 2020 on All India Radio had mentioned about the dragon fruit farming in the arid Kutch region of Gujarat. He had congratulated the farmers of Kutch for the cultivation of fruit for ensuring India's self-sufficiency in the production.
आजकल कच्छ में किसान ड्रैगन फ्रूट्स की खेती के लिए सराहनीय प्रयास कर रहे हैं। बहुत से लोग जब सुनते हैं तो उन्हें आश्चर्य होता है, कच्छ और ड्रैगन फ्रूट्स, लेकिन वहाँ आज कई किसान इस कार्य में जुटे हैं। फल की गुणवत्ता और कम जमीन में ज्यादा उत्पाद को लेकर काफी इनोवेशन किए जा रहे हैं। मुझे बताया गया है कि ड्रैगन फ्रूट्स की लोकप्रियता लगातार बढ़ रही है।
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar called on Prime Minister of Greece Kyriakos Mitsotakis and also held bilateral talks with his counterpart Nikos Dendias today. Both sides had a comprehensive exchange of views on further consolidating the bilateral relations, which continue to deepen and expand rapidly. They noted with satisfaction the ongoing cooperation in several areas such as trade and investment, science and technology, culture, academics, and people-to-people contact. India and Greece agreed to work together to further enhance collaboration in these areas. It was also agreed that the next round of Foreign Office consultations and Joint Trade Committee would be held soon. Here is a report from our correspondent.
Both sides agreed to work towards the establishment of a strategic partnership. They also shared views on regional and global issues of mutual interest in the context of new geopolitical and geo-economic realities, including the Indo-Pacific. Both sides noted with satisfaction the convergence of each other's vision for a free, open, inclusive and cooperative Indo-Pacific, ensuring connectivity and growth for all in the region. The Greek Foreign Minister signed and handed over the agreement on the International Solar Alliance to the Indian side. External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar welcomed Greece to the family of the ISA. Suparna Sejja, AIR News, Delhi.
Dr. Jaishankar also unveiled the statue of Mahatma Gandhi in Athens. The statue will act as a strong symbol of friendship between the two countries. Chief of Indian Air Force Air Chief Marshal Rakesh Kumar Singh Bhaduria arrived in Dhaka on Saturday on a 3-day visit to Bangladesh. He was received by Assistant Chief of Air Staff Operations Bangladesh, Air Vice Marshal M. Abul Bashar on his arrival. The High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh, Vikram Doraiswamy, was also present to welcome the Air Chief on this occasion. The Air Force Chief is scheduled to pay courtesy calls to senior officers of the Bangladesh Armed Forces. He will be meeting other senior officers from the Bangladesh Air Force BAF. He will also visit major BAF air bases across the country during the course of this visit. According to the press release issued by the High Commission of India in Bangladesh, the IAF chief will also pay tribute to the members of Bangladesh Armed Forces who sacrificed their lives during the Liberation War of 1971 by laying wreaths at the altar of Shikha Anirban in Dhaka cantonment. The Air Chief has been invited as the chief guest of the commissioning ceremony on the occasion of President Parade 2021 at BAF Academy, Jessore. This is the first time that an Indian air chief would have the honor of reviewing the parade at Bafa. It also shows the strong commitment and trust that both air forces have towards each other. The visit of the Air Force Chief in the Golden Jubilee year of the Liberation War will further strengthen the close and fraternal ties existing between the armed forces of the two countries, it added.
Indian naval ship Tabar commenced her prolonged deployment on 13th of this month and will visit a number of ports in Africa and Europe till the end of September. During port visits, INS Tabar will conduct professional, social and sporting interactions. The ship will also participate in a number of joint exercises with friendly navies. During the deployment, INS Tabar will transit across the Gulf of Aden, Red Sea, Suez Canal, Mediterranean Sea, North Sea and Baltic Sea. It will make port calls at Djibouti, Egypt, Italy, France, UK, Russia, Netherlands, Morocco and Arctic Council countries like Sweden and Norway. In addition to PASEX, with host navies of countries being visited, the ship is also scheduled to participate in bilateral exercises like ex-Konkan with Royal Navy, ex-Varuna with French Navy and ex-Indra with Russian Federation Navy. The deployment will also see participation by the ship in the Russian Navy Day celebrations from 22nd to 27th of the next month. This is All India Radio giving you the world news.
The centre is disseminating awareness of national helpline numbers for the benefit of citizens during the COVID-19 pandemic. The helpline number of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry is 1075. The child helpline number is 1098. For senior citizens of Delhi, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, the helpline number is 14567. The helpline number of National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, for psychological support is 08046110007. Ayush COVID-19 counselling helpline number is 14443 and MyGov WhatsApp help desk number is 9013151515.
Welcome back to World News. In the United States, Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22 years and 6 months in prison for the murder of George Floyd during an arrest in May 2020. He died after Chauvin knelt on his neck for 9 minutes. Floyd's murder caused global protests against racism and police brutality. A jury found 45-year-old Chauvin guilty of unintentional second-degree murder, third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter in the death of Floyd. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, whose office prosecuted the case, said that Chauvin's sentence is one of the longest given against using unlawful deadly force in the United States. U.S. President Joe Biden, who has spoken several times with the Floyd family, said the sentence seemed appropriate.
U.S. President Joe Biden met Afghan President Ashraf Ghani as well as Chairman of the High Council for National Reconciliation, Dr. Abdullah Abdullah, at the White House. He called on Afghans to decide the future of their country as the last United States troops pack up after 20 years of war. Mr. Biden called the Afghan leaders as two old friends and said that U.S. support for Afghanistan was not ending but would be sustained despite the American troops' pullout. He added that the senseless violence has to stop. President Ghani said he respects Mr. Biden's decision and that the partnership between the U.S. and Afghanistan is entering a new phase and that the two countries are determined to have unity and coherence. In the United States, the oceanfront condominium building that collapsed near Miami had major structural damage to a concrete slab below its pool deck that needs to be extensively repaired, according to a 2018 engineering report on the building. The report was among a series of documents released by the city of Surfside as rescuers continued to dig Saturday through the rubble of the building in an effort to find any of the 159 people who remain unaccounted for after its collapse. At least 4 people were killed. Surfside Mayor Charles Burkett said firefighters also battled a fire believed to be burning inside the collapsed building's underground parking garage. Smoke created a haze at the base of the building, he said. Emergency responders were monitoring for explosive gases but had detected none. World Health Organization has said that rich countries are opening up societies and vaccinating young people who are not at great risk from COVID-19, while the poorest countries are lacking doses. Condemning a global failure, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus on Friday said that the situation in Africa, where new infections and deaths jumped up by nearly 40% last week compared to the previous week, is so dangerous as the Delta variant spreads globally. Mr. Tedros criticized unnamed countries for reluctance to share doses with low-income countries. He compared it to the HIV/AIDS crisis, when some argued that African nations were unable to use complicated treatments.
The United States Food and Drug Administration on Friday added a warning to patient and provider fact sheets for the Pfizer and Moderna COVID-19 vaccines to indicate a rare risk of heart inflammation. For each vaccine, the fact sheets were revised to include a warning about myocarditis and pericarditis after the second dose and with the onset of symptoms within a few days after receiving the shots. Myocarditis is the inflammation of the heart muscle and pericarditis is the inflammation of the tissue surrounding the heart. The health officials said the benefits of receiving the vaccine still outweigh any risk. Acting FDA Commissioner Janet Woodcock said in a statement that the risk of myocarditis and pericarditis appears to be very low given the number of vaccine doses that have been administered. She said the benefits of COVID-19 vaccination continue to outweigh the risks, given the risk of COVID-19 diseases and related, potentially severe complications. The FDA update follows a review and discussion by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices meeting on Wednesday. In Bangladesh, the COVID-19 death toll crossed 14,000 as 77 people died in the country during the last 24 hours. During the same period, 4,334 fresh COVID-19 cases were detected in the country, taking the total number of people infected by the virus to more than 8.83 lakh. However, the sample positivity rate continued to climb up in the country. According to the Directorate General of Health Services, DGHS, the positivity rate on Saturday went up to 22.50% from 21.22% on Friday and 19.93% a day earlier. Meanwhile, people started leaving Dhaka and surrounding districts for their hometowns and villages as the government announced a hard lockdown starting from Monday, during which movement of vehicles and people will be completely restricted. Big rush was observed at bus and ferry terminals, even while the neighbouring districts of Dhaka are already under lockdown. Amid surging cases and shortage of vaccines, the US government has announced that it will give 2.5 million doses of the Moderna vaccine to Bangladesh.
Germany will soon have so many doses of COVID-19 vaccine on hand that it will be able to offer shots to passers-by in city centres or at places of worship, as it seeks to vaccinate at least 80% of the population. Health Minister Jens Spahn on Saturday said that the country needed to press on fast with vaccinations to prevent the Delta variant from taking hold. The government will deliver 5 million doses to regional vaccination centres in the first week of July, and drug maker Moderna Incorporation will be able to deliver double the doses it had originally promised Germany, Spahn said in a televised discussion on the coronavirus. That will mean the country will shift to campaigning more actively to encourage those who are hesitant to get a shot, offering vaccines to passers-by in city centres or churches and mosques. Germany has now fully vaccinated more than a third of the population. Even though infection rates are currently low in Germany, Spahn said the rapid spread of the Delta variant in Britain and Israel showed the need for speedy vaccinations. Finnish health authorities have detected a spike in coronavirus cases that had been traced to soccer fans returning from neighbouring Russia following European Championship matches in St. Petersburg. The Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare on Saturday urged all passengers who have travelled from St. Petersburg to Finland by bus to apply for a coronavirus test. Finland played two of its Euro 2020 group games in St. Petersburg, facing Russia on the 16th of June and Belgium on Monday. At least 2,000 Finns are estimated to have travelled to the city for those matches. The Finns finished in third place in their group and were eliminated. Russia was also eliminated after finishing last.
Russia has reported its highest daily COVID-19 death toll of the year as the country grapples with a sharp spike in infections that has brought new restrictions in some regions. The National Coronavirus Task Force said on Saturday that 619 people died over the past day, the most since December 24th. There were 21,665 new infection cases, nearly 1,300 more than on the previous day and more than double the 9,500 reported on June the 1st. More than a third of the new infections were in Moscow. The city on Monday is to begin a system under which restaurant service will be limited to people who can show they've been vaccinated or had a recent negative coronavirus test. In Germany, investigators were looking on Saturday for a motive behind an attack in the German city of Würzburg, in which a man armed with a long knife killed 3 people and injured at least 5 others, while authorities praised passers-by who tried to stop the assailant. Police said 2 of those hospitalized remained in life-threatening condition on Saturday. The suspect, a 24-year-old Somali, was stopped with a shot to the leg by police and arrested after the Friday afternoon attack in the southern city's downtown area. Police said his wife was not in danger and he was in a hospital. The man had lived in Würzburg since 2015, most recently in a shelter for the homeless. He apparently did not know the victims.
In Mexico, a shootout between suspected drug cartels left 18 people dead. Spokeswoman for the Zacatecas state government, Rocio Aguilar, told local television that the gunfight happened in a remote area of the state in the country's northern region on Friday. The battle was between rival gangs fighting over turf. Valparaiso borders Jalisco state, a stronghold of a powerful cartel called Jalisco Nueva Generación. Drug-related violence has claimed more than 300,000 lives in Mexico since 2006, when the government started deploying federal troops to fight the cartels. Colombian President Iván Duque escaped unharmed when gunfire hit a helicopter carrying him on Friday as it flew near the border with Venezuela. President Iván Duque was flying towards Cúcuta in the Norte de Santander province alongside the Defense Minister, Interior Minister and the province's governor. A spokesperson for the presidency said nobody was hurt in the incident. Mr. Duque denounced the cowardly act and said he was not frightened by violence or acts of terrorism. A U.S. government report on unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, issued on Friday said defense and intelligence analysts lack sufficient data to determine the nature of mysterious flying objects observed by the American military. The unclassified 9-page report released to Congress and the public encompasses 144 observations of what the government officially calls unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP, dating back to 2004. Labeled a preliminary assessment, it was compiled by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence in conjunction with a Navy-led task force created by the Pentagon last year. The report marked a turning point for the U.S. government after the military spent decades deflecting, debunking and discrediting observations of unidentified flying objects and flying saucers dating back to the 1940s.
In Italy, the Verona Arena Amphitheatre in northern Italy has returned to staging full operas for the first time since the pandemic, but with one big difference. The monumental sets that normally fit the vast amphitheatre stage have been replaced by dynamic 3D images broadcast on huge LED screens, recreating a Sicilian village or a Fellini-esque film backlot. Distancing rules meant that stagehands moving sets had to be limited in the cramped backstage in the open-air Roman-era amphitheatre, setting in motion a reimagining of the 98th Verona Arena Opera Festival. For this season, technology is standing in for the sets for which the arena is famous, ones big enough to fill the vast stage and engage even audience members sitting far away in the uppermost seats. Now in sports, in swimming, Sajan Prakash today became the first Indian swimmer to qualify for the upcoming Tokyo Olympics. Sajan achieved the feat as he clocked 1 minute 56.38 seconds in the men's 200-meter butterfly at the Set Colli Trophy in Rome. The qualification cutoff was 1 minute 56.48 seconds. Kiran Rijiju, the Union Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports, congratulated the swimmer and hailed the commitment of Sajan. Tokyo Olympics will begin on July 23rd and the Games will run up to August the 8th this year.
Hockey India on Saturday announced the nomination of Indian men's hockey team goalkeeper P.R. Srijesh and former India women's hockey team player Deepika for the prestigious Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award. For the Dhyan Chand Award for Lifetime Achievement, Hockey India has recommended former Indian stalwarts R.P. Singh and Ching Shubham Sangai Ibhimhal. Coaches B.J. Karyappa and C.R. Kumar have been nominated for the Dronacharya Award. The period of consideration for the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award is between the 1st of January 2017 to the 31st of December 2020. In Eurocup football, the first match of the round of 16 between Wales and Denmark is underway in Amsterdam. Kasper Dolberg scores his second 3 minutes into the second half to put Denmark 2-0 up. Wales started the match brilliantly and had a couple of close chances with the goal as well, but Denmark grew into the game and scored through Dolberg in the 27th minute after some neat team play. After the goal, Wales struggled to even get into the Denmark penalty area, while Denmark nearly made it 2-0 towards the end of the second half. Later tonight, Italy take on Austria in the second match. The match starts at 12:30 hours. With 26 days to go for the beginning of the Tokyo Olympics, All India Radio brings a special series on India's medal prospects at the sporting extravaganza. Today we take a look at India's hope in women's hockey.
The Indian women's hockey team is presently in the final leg of training for the Tokyo Olympics in Bengaluru. This time the Indian women hockey team is a big contender for the medal. Team India has given many excellent results in the last 4 years, including winning the silver medal in the Asia Cup in 2017 and the 2018 Asian Games. Super striker Rani Rampal is the captain of the team, while defender Deep Grace Eka and goalkeeper Savita Punia are the vice captains. In an exclusive interview with AI News, Rani spoke about her role as captain.
एक एडिशनल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है बिकॉज जब आप कंट्री को लीड कर रहे हो और आप सिर्फ 16 प्लेयर्स को लीड नहीं कर रहे, आप 1.3 बिलियन लोगों की कंट्री है उसको रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हो.
Rani shares about team preparation for the Olympics.
जैसे 30 डेज हैं ओलंपिक्स के लिए और बहुत ही कम समय बचा है. ऑलमोस्ट 5 ईयर से हम लोग इसके लिए ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हैं और हर एक एथलीट का यह ड्रीम होता है कि वो कंट्री को ओलंपिक्स में रिप्रेजेंट करे एंड अच्छा परफॉर्म करे, मेडल जीते.
Deep share her feelings when announced vice captain.
मैं रेस्पेक्ट करती हूँ जैसे कि रानी दीदी कैप्टन है और हमारे सविता दीदी बहुत अच्छा लीड करते हैं, तो जैसे मुझे भी चांस मिला है तो मैं इनसे सीखूंगी कि कैसे एक टीम को लीड करते हैं, तो मुझे काफी प्राउड फील हुआ अपने आप को.
In her message to our listeners, vice captain Savita Punia urged our listeners to support the team.
एज ए गोलकीपर मेरा भी यही रोल है कि मैं जितना अपना बेस्ट दे सकती हूँ मुझे ओलंपिक्स में टीम के लिए देना है और अपना गेम खेलना है.
The entire country comes together in wishing that makes the giant leap to the top of the podium at the Tokyo Olympics. Siddharth Singh, Sports Desk.
A quick look at the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews progress of COVID-19 vaccination drive in India. Prime Minister says efforts should be made to help all countries expressing interest in CoWIN platform. India's landmark achievement, 320 million vaccine doses administered. National COVID recovery rate stands at 96.72%. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu calls for making India a leading maritime nation. India and Greece agree to enhance collaboration in trade and investment, science and technology, culture and academics. Greece joins International Solar Alliance. In United States, Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin sentenced to over 22 years in prison for murdering George Floyd. And in Eurocup football, knockout match between Wales and Denmark underway. In another fixture, Austria to play with Italy. India is celebrating the 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let's listen to his favorite bhajan, Vaishnava Jan, by artists from Mauritius. And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of the World News.